By now, you may have already noticed that when a command is in progress, several messages appear near the cursor, informing us about the actions that are required to complete the command. And while we are creating basic shapes such as lines, rectangles, circles, and so on, certain value fields appear so we can specify the length, the angle, the width, or the radius on the spot. Furthermore, if we move the cursor on the grips of a shape and wait a few seconds, its dimensions will appear. Even if we do not remember the full name of a command, we can insert its initial and immediately a list of suggestions from the AutoCAD command library is shown next to the cursor. All those conveniences are the result of dynamic input. So basically, dynamic input enables the tooltips command interface in the drawing area and provides an alternative way to insert a command, its value, and other subsequent changes to the command. Similar messages appear in the command line. The difference between the command line and dynamic input is that the dynamic input tooltips stay near the cursor. The dynamic input icon can be found in the status bar. In case it doesn't appear in your computer, you can click on the customization icon and select it from the contextual menu. When it's active, it is a lighter shade of blue. At this point, I will deactivate it and proceed to create a simple line. Notice that the command is active, but no message appears near the cursor. The message Specify Next Point appears only in the command line. Once I click to specify the start of the line, the value fields do not appear either. However, I will move the cursor to the right and type the number 1000 to specify the direction and the length of the line. The number I just typed appears in the command line. I will press Enter twice and notice that if I select the line I just created and move the cursor on the right grip, the dimensions do not appear. Now it's time to move on to the next example to show you how I can modify the dimensions of a shape quickly when the dynamic input is turned on. So firstly, I will activate the dynamic input and select the first shape, which is the line. I will move the cursor on the right grip, and once the dimensions appear, I will click on the grip. Notice that a value field activates. Through this field, I can stretch the line. For example, I will type the number 200 and press Enter. The line is now stretched and its new length is 1200. If I click again on the grip and press Tab, the Lengths field activates and I can delete the current length and type the new one, which will be 1000. Once I press Enter, the line's length becomes 1000 again. Now I will click on the grip once more, and this time I will press Tab twice. In this way, the Angles field becomes active. The current angle is 25 decimal degrees. I will delete this number, type the number 60, and press Enter. The angle of the line changed accordingly. If I click on the middle grip, I can move the line in the drawing area. I will click again to move the line to a new position in the drawing area. Then I will press Escape and select the circle next to the line. By clicking on one of the 4 quadrant grips, the Radius field activates, so I can change the radius from 300 to 400. If I click on the center grip, I can move the circle around. I will reposition the circle, press Escape, and now I will select the ellipse. With the center grip, I can move the ellipse. If I click on the upper or the lower grip, I can change the length of the semi-minor axis, and if I click on the left or the right one, I can change the length of the semi-major axis. Last but not least, when it comes to rectangles and polygons, this way of changing the dimensions is not recommended. Notice that there is no center grip, so I cannot move polygons and rectangles in this way. Furthermore, if I click on one of the corner points, the length field becomes active. If I change the length from 800 to 600, the change is applied only on the side of the grip and the rectangle loses its shape. To make the length of both sides even again, I need to click on the other grip, press Tab until the length field is active, and change the value from 800 to 600. If I need to change the length or the width of a rectangle, it is a better idea to click on one of the grips in the middle of the sides. For example, I will click on the middle grip of the upper side and move the cursor up. Notice that the rectangle is being stretched. I can type the length of the extension, which is 200, and then I will press Enter. The rectangle has been stretched. Similarly, I could have reduced its length instead of increasing it. Polygons are even harder to modify in this way, so I would not recommend to modify polygons from the grips.